Democrats have perfected the art of weaponizing the nation's legal system against political foes. They will use activist judges to shut down anyone or any organization they don't agree with. Enter New York Attorney General Letitia James. She is waging war against the NRA, seeking to dissolve the most powerful civil rights organization in America. When she claims she's concerned about the NRA's finances, do not believe her. What she is really worried about is the NRA's power. When she declares she wants the NRA dissolved, this is all about dissolving your voice. Dissolving the voice of gun owners is what she wants. She wants us all silenced. She hates that our founding fathers knew that guns give us the power to stand up to tyranny. Listen to Letitia James talk about the NRA.
My office filed a lawsuit against the National Rifle Association.
So we seek to dissolve the corporation.
My priorities, again, include going after the NRA because it is a criminal enterprise.
On the NRA, deadly propaganda. Look at them on your screen. There's a terrorist organization and a criminal enterprise. All right? That kind of divisive speech is why 16 attorneys general joined in support of the NRA's countersuit against New York, filing a brief with the court that spells out, and I'm going to quote here, the New York AG cannot be allowed to wield the power of her office to discriminate against the NRA simply because she doesn't like its members, political views, advocacy, and defense of a fundamental constitutional right. So as we kick off our week-long series, The War on the NRA, I want to welcome the Attorney General from Arkansas, Leslie Rutledge. She is the AG leading the charge against her anti-freedom counterpart up in New York. General, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you so much for having me on.
Well, thank you for joining suit and supporting the NRA. There's 16 of you. This is somewhat odd when you see fellow AGs go against other AGs, but what made you get involved here?
Well, it's absolutely imperative that Americans in these 16 states, and I was happy to lead it from Arkansas, stand up against Tish James and her activity to dissolve the National Rifle Association. The NRA is the strongest Second Amendment advocacy group that we have in America to protect our Second Amendment rights. And essentially what AG James did in New York was to file in state court to dissolve an organization, not because it was really doing anything wrong, but because she didn't like what it was doing and what it stood for. And so therefore, we are supporting the NRA from Arkansas and these other states, Texas, Louisiana. All these other states are joining us in support of the NRA because we believe in their First Amendment right to defend our Second Amendment right.
You know, General Rutledge, I think what people at home should know, too, is, yes, this is a lawsuit about guns and the NRA, but this is also a lawsuit about freedom of speech. And it's chilling the lengths that someone like Letitia James will go to squash people's speech. I have to believe that's part of it for you as well.
Well, that's the entire point of our amicus brief in support of the NRA, is that essentially Tish James and her work at the New York Attorney General's office is trying to do the ultimate cancel culture and to cancel the NRA. And this is only because she politically disagrees with him. You just heard where she said that she believes it's a criminal enterprise. The NRA is not a criminal enterprise. The NRA is an advocacy organization, educational organization, protecting and advocating for our Second Amendment right to bear arms and to promote gun safety. It is not to do as Tish James would have it. And her lawsuit is simply using taxpayer dollars there in New York to benefit her own political agenda, which she said was to take down the NRA. And I'm standing up against Tish James, New York, and anyone else who will threaten the First Amendment right of those who are advocating for our Second Amendment right.
How can any impartial judge or jury give her any credibility when, just as you said, she campaigned saying she was going to take down the NRA? How do you go into court with a lawsuit without everybody seeing this is an absolute sham?
Well, hopefully the NRA is going to be successful, and our brief will be successful in asking the federal courts to essentially remove this state case and to tell the state of New York, because again, she filed in state court. She filed in her home court. She's looking for that home court advantage in New York. And that's why the NRA took it to federal court to put a stop to her lawsuit. So we're hopeful that the federal judge will shut this down, because, again, this is about our First Amendment right. We can't have elected officials, Democrat or Republican, but in this sense, an activist liberal Democrat shutting down the free speech of an organization simply because she doesn't like what it has to say.
Yeah. Let me be clear about this as well. You know, the NRA sued back the state of New York over this, and it's about protecting everybody's rights out there. And this is one organization that has really spent a lot of money protecting people's gun rights, speech, you name it. It's about the Constitution, and they're standing up when a lot of people aren't. Leslie Rutledge, I appreciate the work you do in Arkansas. Thank you on behalf of gun owners, and can't wait to have you back.
Thank you. Happy to do it.
All right.